I think another thing too, you mentioned search engine optimization, is sometimes organizations are like, oh yeah, I want to rank higher than my competitors in Google. I want to be found, and, throw some of that SEO in there. And I think a lot of times people think search engine.
Oh, just check the box, Drew.
Yeah. Search engine optimization, the way you build a website, the way you code it, the content and everything, that's extremely important. But it's not just something you throw in there once. Search engine optimization isn't trickery and getting Google to display your website or anything like that. It's really all about creating valuable content that will serve your audience, that will provide your audience with value. And if you can do that, then Google, other search engines will recognize that. And if they, search engines watch usually what people do on different pages of your website. And if they see people engaging with your content, spending a lot of time with your content, if it's really providing value to users, maybe people are spending a little more time on that page than your competitor's page, that's when you really start to make a difference. So really good search engine optimization is a marathon, and it's not a sprint, and it's spent with, a number of hours every single month, monitoring the words that matter most, your service lines that matter most, monitoring your competitors, optimizing changing content, but also, changing codes, changing images, changing the user experience. The experience the user has on a website is very much search engine optimization as well. So it's a really long ongoing process, and it can take a lot of time and sometimes money, but it's also very, very powerful.
We were closing down that last part with a little bit about SEO. And when I think about SEO, is content still queen? Like, is that the biggest? I used to always describe it like as a pie chart, right? Content was like a big piece of it. Strategic inbound links was like the second largest piece. And then you've got all these other things that go into that pie chart. What's in the pie chart for you these days? And like SEO in 2024?
Right. Well, content is extremely important, and that's probably the most important ingredient because, again, the entire purpose of Google is to provide valuable content for its users. Google doesn't want people to search, be frustrated, and go elsewhere. And so if you can be the answer to a query, it's incredibly powerful. And this is why traffic that we see coming from search is generally more effective and is more likely to convert on the website than traffic that comes from social, than traffic that comes from other websites, other links, than visitors that even come directly, typing in a website address directly. So if you can be the answer to the query that your audience is asking, it's very powerful.
One of the ways that you can start building solid content is some key phrase research, right? It's not all about length or quantity, and like finding the phrases that people are going to use but are also not overly competitive. How do you help people find a balance when it's time to think about, okay, I'm not going to use it in my sentence anymore. I'm going to use a key phrase that actually means something to my audience. How do you help people build quality content?
Yep. Well, sometimes we do it for them.
Okay.
The client says, hey, you write this, do some interviews with our experts and we'll write it all. We do the keyword research and we create great content. And sometimes, the client has copywriters and the client wants to do that. And that's great too. And sometimes we'll just do keyword research, just help SEO the content that they write. So the first thing I'd say, Ben, is don't be afraid of a lot of content. So many websites that we see out there, it'll have a page and there'll be like 100 words on the page. So if Google sees 2 pages on the internet, one is your page, it has 100 words, and one is a competitor's page, and it has 1,000 words. Which of those pages has more potential to provide value to users? It's a page with 1,000 words.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it doesn't necessarily. It has to be well written and everything. It should be shorter paragraphs. It should be original content, probably have some images throughout to create interest, to tell the right story. You should have headings throughout, an H1 at the top, H2s, H3s throughout, so that it's scannable both for people and for search bots. But don't be afraid of more content. And sometimes people think, the internet is a place for people with low attention spans. People just want to get into a page, look real quick, and leave. But, just because your page has quite a lot of content on it doesn't mean you're forcing visitors to read the whole
Right.
thing.
You can have some good call to actions that guide those short attention spans into the right direction along the way.
Yep. have good headings throughout so they can see, maybe even embed a good YouTube video so someone can watch or listen to the content in a different way if they prefer to consume content that way. So don't be afraid of a lot of content, but it has to be really high quality. It has to be well written. And especially as we look at AI makes content more important than ever.
But just don't copy and paste, because guess what else someone else is doing, you know?
Duplicate content. Yeah, so it needs to be original, absolutely.
Right.
So I think that's the first ingredient, just having really high quality, well-written content. And you mentioned keywords. And so, using the right keywords is important. Google's gotten a lot better over the years, understanding synonyms and phrases and the intent of searches themselves. But, one of the examples I often give was that we were working with a medical organization, and they were very interested in promoting their bariatric surgery. And the only problem is we did keyword research for their target audience in the geographic location. We found that no one searches for bariatric surgery.
Or knows how to spell it.
Or knows how to spell it, even though that's absolutely the right word to use.
Right.
And we looked, and people use weight loss surgery. And I think that's something that we all probably fall victim to, Ben, is that we use the right words for our industry, but that doesn't mean our target audience does. And so we had to go to them and really encourage them, hey, we're going to use the words weight loss surgery. We're going to use some of the language that perhaps your audience uses. And we did, and it helped the page rank better. It got them more, ultimately, appointments, conversions, and things like that. So using the right keywords is important. And we use a million tools. We even have some tools we build ourselves to find out how users search. But, if you're just doing it on your own, even just going to Google, search for maybe one of the keywords you want people to find for one of your services or products, and then scroll to the bottom, and where it has the different pages you can go to that no one ever goes to, but it has, Google with all the O's underneath there's related searches. And those are keywords that people who searched for the keyword you inputted also searched for. The people also ask area can also give you some other ideas. Another really easy tool to use is Google Trends. Anyone can go just to Google Trends, search for that, and it shows you, you can compare keywords, see what people are searching for, select a certain geographic region, see, which searches are more popular. So it's, again, Google's gotten a lot better, and you don't have to match it exactly, but it is wise to understand how your audience searches.